Eric, we hear a lot about gap integrity as being the chief culprit for the run game issues of late. Is it more than that, though? I mean, is it multiple? I mean, is that oversimplifying it?
Well, it's a combination. It all starts with your fundamentals, and it starts with that. And sometimes it's just different things. Being in your gap, because we are a gap-controlled defense, which means everyone is assigned to a specific gap or a specific area as it pertains to a run concept. And so you start with that, and then some of it is fundamentals, how that individual is in position if he's in his gap responsibility, and some of it's tackling. So it's not just one thing. It's you know the occasions where we've been really good. All of those things have shown up in a positive way, and all it takes is for one of those things to break down. And in this business, a back will exploit you.
Has there been a problem between when it's obviously there's passing downs and rushing downs and kind of differentiating not what they're going to do, but when they run on passing downs and pass on rushing downs?
No, we the way that the players are developed and trained, if you will, we react to the information that presents itself to us, especially on mixed downs. Starting up front, when we get run information, we attack the line of scrimmage on every snap. We get run information, we squeeze our gap responsibility, or we close, or we start to pursue. We get pass information on first down. They could throw the ball the first 5 plays. As soon as that information kind of declares itself, then we respond accordingly. So everyone up front they have something that they're looking at that tells them how to react. You know what I'm saying? So when we call that run pass keys.
Ron specifically talked about, giving up those chunk plays and the big yardage on rushing downs. Is there anything that you're looking at to improve those and cut down on giving up those big rushing plays?
No. Well, yes. Here's the thing. If I've been here 9 seasons, and I've seen every result that you can think of in terms of our run defense, whether it's from a single game or at the end of the season. When you sit back and look at everything, I have a tremendous amount of confidence in our process. And even more than that, I have confidence in the players. So if right now, if our run defense were exactly where it needed to be, we would engage basically the same process. We would go back and address it, make sure that we have the time on task, that we are doing things during our install periods, that we're doing things during the individual periods and then the team periods to make sure that we are making progress toward the result that we want.
What do you do, excuse me, what do you do when you have a couple weeks in a row where it seems like teams have just been able to gash you in certain ways with those big plays that kind of hurt you in other areas? How do you keep that from kind of spiraling out of control down the stretch here as you guys hope to make a run?
Yeah, you just go back. First of all, you identify the problem or the culprit. You identify that, and you make sure that we understand as coaches, first of all, and then we transfer that information to the players, that understanding to the players, and you just continue to develop that player or that part of what we're doing and bringing it up to the level that you want. So that's why we're here. That's what coaches do. We have to identify what is it, and sometimes it's the same thing, sometimes it's different things, and so that's what we do. I mean, and I have a lot of confidence that that'll be where it needs to be to help us win as we move forward.
Has tackling on the back end exacerbated the problem on some of the chunk plays?
We can always tackle better, and the way that offenses, when you have the guys in the middle of our defense that we have, Gerald McCoy and Dontari Poe, people are going to try and attack the edge of the perimeter of your defense. And so, across the board, before it's a problem, tackling or stopping the runs in 11-man operation. So we have to be really efficient and effective tacklers in the core and outside on the perimeter, so we can all do a better job there.
You obviously have had a lot of respect for KK over the years. Missing him specifically, how does that impact the run defense?
It doesn't, and that's no disrespect to K1. We're not looking for I mean, there are reasons, but there are no excuses. I mean, we have the men that we have on the field. I mean, we believe that we can do exactly what we want to do in terms of the results that we want.
I understand what you're saying, but wouldn't you agree that KK is one of your better interior run defenders?
There's no question about that. But I would not cite that as a reason why we have or have not done anything.
Eric, same regard. You've had troubles against the run, but Matt Ryan is a guy who's really had a lot of success against you guys. 6-1 in his last 7 starts, 15 touchdown passes, only 3 interceptions, and throwing for about 318 a game. What do you got to do to kind of shut him down?
The only thing that's relevant is what happens on Sunday, and I can cite statistics about, how, past years, how many times we've put him on his back. The only thing that matters is what happens, Steve, on Sunday. And we have a lot of respect for Matt Ryan. We know what he's capable of. They have explosive talent at the wide receiver position. Julio Jones, we know that. So we've got to make sure that we do a good job getting him in third down situations that they do not want to be in. And we have to be really efficient with our pass rush. The ball tends to come out fast on third down, especially third and medium. They're looking for the sticks. They're looking for run after catch opportunities. So we have to be really sharp and tight with our rush.
Brian Burns only played, I think, 16 snaps last week, and Ron has referenced him struggling a couple of times in the last couple of weeks. So what are your thoughts on Brian? I know the club has something to do with it, but just in general, how he's playing.
Yeah, I think it's just, part of the trials of being a rookie in the National Football League. You have ups and downs. You have, high moments and moments where you are constantly learning what it means to go 17 weeks in this business as opposed to where you're coming from. So I think all those things are factors. Again, they're factors, but they're no excuses. Brian we expect a certain level of performance from him, and we're working to make sure that he understands that and he can give that to us, in the interest of winning.
Was the relatively low snap count for him a product of productivity?
At that particular point, it was just, as far as the last game was concerned, it was just, we had the guys out there who we thought gave us the best chance. And clearly, he's done some things already this season that have helped us, that have helped our cause. But at that particular point, those were the decisions that we made.
Eric, this is sort of a different question, not related to the specific game this week or the run defense or anything, but Eric Reid was saying that he feels like he's sort of transitioning into more of a hybrid linebacker safety role. Would you say that that's a fair representation? And why is he so well fit, I guess is fair to say, to go into that role?
Well, he plays a lot. He plays really close to the core, and we like him there because he does a great job as a blitzer, as an eighth box defender against the run, and as an underneath zone defender. So he has the physical traits to help us there, and but he also has the coverage ability, the skills to play safety in the traditional sense. So he gives us a lot of flexibility. We feel extremely confident. A lot of times when you have a safety rotated down in the box, we try and keep, because certain movement by the offense can facilitate that the safety ends up in a linebacker position at times, and even a Mike linebacker position. We feel extremely comfortable with Eric in the box, being able to fit and leverage the interior gaps. So he does a nice job, and not only that, his intelligence, his ability to kind of anticipate what's going to happen. But as I mentioned last week, when good things happen when he's down there. So we want to keep that going.
Is that something where the comfort level has grown since last year as he's continued learning the scheme and the personnel alongside him?
I believe so. With each week, Eric becomes more familiar with how we do things, and not only that, but the guys, the individual talents of the people around him. And so you see that becoming stronger and stronger, that bond, that understanding. All of those things have been real positive for us.
Kind of sticking in the secondary, you saw not a lot, but you saw snaps from Cole Luke and JV and Elliott, and kind of guys that were not out of position, but maybe in places that we haven't seen them before. What did you see from them last week against Green Bay, and kind of how do you feel about them going forward?
Well, I'll say this, and I mentioned, this to Cole. Cole was a member of our practice squad, and then he was called up, if you will, to use a baseball analogy, and he was on the field for one of the highlights of the game last week. Obviously, we didn't achieve our ultimate goal in winning, but the 4th and goal stop. I mean, Cole is on the field. Now, here's a guy that was on practice squad, and then he's on the field in a critical point in the football game, directing traffic, understanding how to adjust that particular defense that we had called, and he, along with everyone else, they were in great position in the mindset, and so that's a tremendous credit to Cole, because he has to be a great consumer of information during the meetings, with the understanding that he may get his opportunity, and Coach talks about that all the time. And I have a lot of respect for the fact that he was ready to go in that situation, and then going into the game not knowing if you're actually going to play any snaps on defense. I mean, and so I give him a lot of credit for that. And Javian just continues to impress me with how professional he is. We've utilized him in a number of roles. He's played corner, he's played nickel, and he's always ready to go. If we have a big nickel installed, and if his snaps are limited because of that selection, when we do put him in the game in the situations where we believe he fits best, he just seems to be ready to go. And I think he's getting better as a blitzer. You have to excuse that, but I like guys that run at the quarterback and harass him. So I'm constantly talking to him about his ability to impact and to affect the quarterback, and I see a lot of improvement there.
That's something that you like at a nickel. You just mentioned it, but Captain was a great blitzer, and
yes,
someone at the nickel, that seems like a huge skill set for them to
well,
have.
you really want to be able to count on that kind of prowess from that position because of how close they typically are to the core, and the bringing that position disguises well. And so when you do call that position, you want that person to understand enough about pass rush to help the overall effort. And he is really getting better with that. It starts with speed. He has great burst and quickness off the edge. And so I just like where he's going with that. He gives us some options.
A couple times when he's had success there in getting pressure and then getting his sack, it almost looked like the guys lost him up front because he's kind of like this Tasmanian whirlwind of energy,
right,
rushing the quarterback, just from an external perspective.
Right. Well, that burst, the burst coming off of the edge, and he does kind of when he's attacking the line of scrimmage, there is some timber in there, especially when you count the offensive line, and those guys are typically 6'4" and 6'5", and you throw the D line in there. But he has that great burst of energy, and he seems to find those creases, or he seems to understand how to adjust rushing from that position to kind of feed off of what we're doing with the other 4 rushers. So I really like that. You got to get there fast. You have to get there fast. And with this quarterback that we're getting ready to play, this guy's seen it all. He can hurt you. And so when you decide to send an extra guy, he needs to impact the play in a hurry. Doesn't mean you're going to sack him every time, but you need to make sure you're affecting him.
You've seen James Bradberry and Julio Jones go against each other 4, 5, 8 times now, I think. How has Bradberry grown since the first few times that he played against Julio?
Well, I just think James has a great deal of confidence in himself, and he will be the first one to tell you how much he respects Julio Jones. The fact that we have to see him twice a year, and I think James he loves the challenge. And he realizes there's going to be some give and take, but he has a lot of confidence in his ability to do his job. And that doesn't mean that he doesn't need help doing his job. We have to help him. And so, great players want to play against great players. That's typically what they want to do. They get excited about that opportunity, and that's what I see in James, especially from his rookie year. I remember when he got his first interception against the San Francisco 49ers, watching that and watching him grow from that into a player that looks forward to going one-on-one, if you will, against the top receivers in the league is pretty fun, pretty cool to see that.